Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Luxunvur's story. Now, we will pick up where we left off after you go to sleep after the previous day. Do you think after the libations and recreation that happened last night that you sleep in, or do you wake up on time?
I'm gonna roll a save to see if he can force himself up.
Okay.
Uh, it was a rough night and a lot of alcohol, so I'm gonna say DC's 15.
Okay. Give me a wisdom save.
Yeah, he gets up one time.
Okay. Uh, I would say with a 23, you actually remembered to also consume plenty of water, and you are not hungover, if maybe just a little bit
Awesome.
dizzy.
That's fine with me.
But you stop, get breakfast. Let's see how much you gain in temporary hit points. 6 temporary hit points. So, pretty much run of the mill average. You have eggs, bacon, sausage to eat in the morning, provided by the golems. And when you get to class, unless there's something that you do in the meantime.
Um, no, I can't think of anything.
Okay. As you enter the class, Wash and Kyo are there. Wash looks tired. Wash looks a little under the weather. But Iriakis stands between the gates, and as you enter, he says, Levi, I have a task for you today. Are you prepared for another free agency?
Yes, sir.
Good. We are working in conjunction with Ferrum's town guards today. They have discovered the location of a group of criminals. You will help them. Get at them, as it were.
Right. I can handle that.
Report to Persh. I recommend employing the help of one of the rogue students. Think like your enemy.
I'll take that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Iriakis kind of nods and waits for you to leave.
I give him a bow and I head out.
Okay. As you head out toward the front, you find Persh behind his counter, as always, at his desk, scribbling down on parchments. He looks up at you as you enter the room and he says, Morning, Levi.
Morning, Birch.
How can I help you?
I was told to. I wasn't told to. I was recommended that I get the help of a rogue for my free agency today.
Right. Oh, you are helping the guard. Let's see.
Am I able to make a request?
Yes.
Is Skolma free today?
Roll me a d4 as Persh looks through the tome. A 1. Persh looks at the ledger and shakes his head. I'm sorry, she's handling other business. I do have another available, if you need a rogue.
Sure. Yeah, sure, why not?
He picks up the sending stone. Maxwell, would you mind sending Kindrail up for a free agency? Alright, appreciate it. And he puts the stone down and he says, he'll be here in a moment.
Right. I'll just wait. Kind of just watch Birch.
Okay. As you wait, one moment here. I have lost one of my tokens. Great. I love it. One moment, please, while I
Yep, take your time.
re-upload this thing. because nothing is ever easy.
No, it's only easy when it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on. As you wait, the door to the Merigard opens, and an individual wearing full plate armor steps into the room. And as he enters, Persh looks up and says, "Ah, Lieutenant Norton, I assume you're here to collect our students." And this fully armored and full plate and heavy helmet individual nods and says, "We're hoping the Merigard can help us with this. Are you the one entitled to this free agency, as they call it?" And he's looking at you.
That would be me. You are correct. We are waiting for one more.
The guard nods and kind of clasps his hands behind his back in an at ease position.
I'm sorry, what was your name, sir?
Hallen Northern, but you can just call me Lieutenant Northern or Lieutenant.
Yes, Lieutenant.
And there is the sound of footsteps suddenly emerging from around the corner, and a young human man enters the room. This individual is wearing leathers and is covered in knives. And as he steps out, he says, "You called for me, Persh?" And Persh gestures to you and says, "You've been selected for the free agency. You'll be working with these two." And the guard nods. You've never seen this individual before, but he steps up to you and he holds out his hand and he says, "Matthew Kindrell."
Pleasure. It's Levi.
"Nice to meet you." And he shakes it back. He's got a firm grip. This guy he seems maybe overconfident or cocky. He has a constant smile on his face. And he is literally covered in sharp edges. And as he looks at the guard and back to you, he says, "Working with the town guard then?" And the lieutenant says, "Yes. You two will be helping me investigate a thieves' den that has been reported to be beneath the granary outside the northern gates."
Right.
"How do you feel about smuggling?" And Matthew raises an eyebrow and says, "That's a weird question coming from a guard." He looks at you.
Right. I'm not sure how to answer that. Of course, it's bad, and it's bad for the town.
The guard nods and says, "We've had a lot of crag cats being smuggled into town. We only found out about them as one had gotten loose and laid waste to one of the farms outside of the city."
Does Levi know what a crag cat is?
Roll nature. DC's not super high. They're fairly well known.
I'm not super good at it, though.
That's fair.
Oh, well, 19, so yeah.
Yeah, you know what a crag cat is. It's a very large, winter-born, basically it's like a mountain lion, but bigger. Their pelts have been valued. You know that with a 19. So you're not surprised to hear they're being smuggled. The guard says, "I don't have the skills needed to get through whatever locking mechanism is in front of the cellar. So..." And Matthew says, "Oh, I could do that, probably." And then he looks at you and says, "Do you have any skill with lockpicks, this sort of things?"
That's why I enlisted our friend here.
Very good. Let's get a move on then.
After you.
As you all head out into Ferrum, as he said, the northern gates, which to you basically means the chapel district. Roll me a history check.
Dun, 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 dun. F5.
Don't worry about it.
Yep.
You are following the guard as he heads toward the chapel gate. As he does, I need you to roll me a d8.
The last 3 times I have done this, I got no encounters, so...
There is no encounter as you make your way toward the chapel gate.
Fuck!
The town is quiet this morning, it seems. And as you arrive at the gates, Matthew looks to you in the guard and says, "Hey, if we're approaching a thieves' den, maybe we should be a little bit more inconspicuous."
Yeah, he's quite right. Your plate armor is, mighty ostentatious.
The guard looks between the two of you and he says, "We're here to arrest thieves."
Right, but if they see you coming a mile away, they'll run.
All right. I'll hang back until you get in, then you signal me.
Good.
The guard waits at the gate, and he points to a structure that you didn't remember was there. It is an old, fairly broken down granary in between a number of the temples out here. And Matthew looks at it and at you, and he says, "I suppose that's the place."
Right. Let's try to be quiet.
All right. And Matthew will stealth, as should you. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
15. Not the greatest roll ever.
Not terrible, but no, not great.
Literally quite average.
Matthew rolls a 26.
Of course, he advantages.
He's a rogue. He's a rogue. And he will creep along the edge of the street up toward this granary. As you approach, I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Again, 17. But I mean, 10 on the die.
Okay. As you are looking around, this granary is old and worn down, though it does seem as though it's still being used. There is a horse outside on the front side of this granary with a cart bound to it. The cart is empty, and you don't see anybody around. But you know for a fact that this horse would not have been left here unless someone owned it or was using it.
Okay. I don't see anyone, just the horse.
You do see people passing by on the road outside the chapel. You don't see anybody in or around this granary, though.
Okay. Guess just make our way up to the side of the granary. There's windows on it or anything?
There are a few windows. They are extremely dirty and hard to see through. Actually, roll me an investigation check.
Right. 3 10s in a row for a 13.
I see a theme here. With a 13, the windows look... Some of them are cracked and damaged, but you do see through them mounds and mounds of grain, of hay and barley and other sorts of things that are kind of divided into these sections of the granary. It's a large square structure.
Huh. You see anything? As I turn to, what was his name? Matthew?
Matthew, yes. He will roll investigation. As you have asked him, he rolls a natural 2. So what you actually see is Matthew has his face all screwed up as he's like trying to hold back a sneeze.
Shit, bless you. Don't sneeze.
I'm trying.
It's fine.
He doesn't see anything. He is compromised.
I guess I'll walk around to the door.
Okay. The door to the granary is open. The horse. How is Luxunvur around horses?
He's doesn't bother him.
Okay.
He really he's kind of unmoving with most things because in reality he's a dragonborn, but in reality he's a dragon. So those smaller things don't really bother him too
Right.
much.
I'm more asking, how are horses around Luxunvur?
Oh, let's find out what kind of presents I give off around animals.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good, apparently.
Apparently you do well. Yeah. Okay. The horse does not startle at your approach, that's very good. As it just kind of ignores you and continues grazing on the hay that's left for it outside the granary. And as you're looking around inside, roll me a D100.
Alrighty. 53.
Okay. Hold on. Roll me a D6.
5.
Okay. Roll me a D10.
6.
All right. Lastly, roll me a D100. 65.
65. Hey, that's what I rolled. I rolled 5, 6, 6, 5.
Okay. The air stills as you look inside this granary. It feels as though there was a breeze coming from the forest around you, and it was a very pretty day, if a little overcast. But suddenly it feels like it stopped, like everything has paused. And as you look around this granary, you realize color has almost sapped away from everything that you can see. Everything, it almost has like a filter of gray around it. It's very alarming. As you blink and try and take in what happened to everything, there is a familiarity to this place. Roll me a history check.
I think I know, but let's see if Levi knows. 18?
You cannot help but feel, as you felt every time you were exploring and wandering for hours back in Iriakis' sanctuary.
Yep.
Back in the temporal plane. You turn around, you notice Matthew has one hand up on the door jamb looking into the granary, but he has frozen.
Oh. So, okay, what happens if I walk back out of the granary?
Nothing changes.
Oh, fuck. Fuck. What do I do here? The horse isn't moving. What happens if I touch Matthew?
You feel his cloth armor underneath your fingertips. He doesn't react at all. It's as if you didn't.
This is just like when Myriad put me in the broken
It feels
time.
just like it.
If that's the case, I'm gonna try to reach out to him to see if he could help me.
Okay, go for it.
What do I roll?
Well, I need to know how you're trying to reach out.
I suppose he's gonna reach out by asking a question, because he likes questions.
Then
and he's there to answer questions.
Then roll me a wisdom check, as I need to know what your question is.
How does one leave when they don't know how they got here? And just wisdom, wisdom with proficiency,
Just wisdom.
just wisdom. 24. Nope, 23.
Okay. As you reach out, you feel the question resound away from you. And you hear an answer, but it is not Myriad who answers. Answers come to only those who seek it. As you turn to see who said that to you, a bald human? Half-orc? It's hard to tell what they are, but they wear beads around their neck and long leather reinforced robes, raiments. It's an unusual attire. It's not any sort of attire that you recognize. It almost seems as though it's out of place.
I'm sorry, who are you?
I am Gannet, the Unmoving.
Do I know Gannet the Unmoving?
No.
No.
There's nothing even to roll. You've never heard of this person.
Yeah, I didn't think so. What do you mean that answers come for those who seek?
The individual in front of you steps up to you and says, "You have wandered the plane between times for hours on end in search of answers to your own curiosity. You've sought those answers out for yourself. Why?"
That's a good question. I've always had this deeper yearning for knowledge.
This is what he looks like, by the way.
Oh, I like it. Not knowing. I wouldn't say not knowing. The search for the information is. It's very hard to explain. I've lived a life of not wanting or not knowing, as my parents do and take as they please. But that's never struck a chord with me.
Why?
Just taking what you want isn't enjoyable. There's no learning to gain from it, and I don't like that.
So everything you do to learn, then?
Yes.
Why? Why do you want to learn? For your benefit?
There hasn't been an end goal yet. Whether it's to help me or to help someone else. Maybe it's just to make sure things stay as they are, where they should be. If something happens and I'm ignorant because I don't have the knowledge and I can't do anything, then
But would you? Would you always do something if you had the knowledge to help?
if having the knowledge, that can't be answered. Because sometimes having the knowledge, then you know not helping that person is the right thing to do.
Curious.
Having the knowledge doesn't mean you always help. The knowledge is knowing when to help and when not to help.
You have sparked my curiosity, Luxunvur. I have watched as you've wandered our plane.
Verb plane?
Our plane. the temporal plane, as you pulled such an answer from the god of wonder. Should you grow to seek knowledge, but without always the means to use it against every situation, I look forward to seeing how else you change. I admit your heritage is of curiosity to me. It is rare to find a white dragon who is not driven entirely by greed and malice.
Indeed it is. And that's why I couldn't stay where I was, because that's all they had to offer.
You have given me pause. I have decisions to make regarding you, Luxunvur. But keep in mind, we are paying attention.
I will keep that in mind.
I wish you luck in dealing with your petty thieves.
Thank you.
And as you blink, you are back. And Matthew leans the rest of the way around the door and says, "Do you see anything?" It's as though no time passed at all for him.
Yeah, Luxembourg is gonna just be kind of awestruck, like, zone everything else. Like, he's in his own head and he can feel his heartbeat in his ears, and he's just, like, freaking out a little bit.
Okay.
So he doesn't reply to to Matthew.
It takes a moment before Matthew... Hey, are you here?
What?
There might be thieves about. Pay attention.
He goes to say something. Right. Do I see anything in here?
Roll a perception. I would say at disadvantage as you're coming out of the...
Oh yeah, I'm fucked right now. 10.
No. You see lots of grain. Grain is sorted in different large burlap sacks that have been lined up against all the walls inside this granary. You don't see anything else. There are some tools along one of the walls.
Right, Matthew, I'm not gonna lie to you right now. I am not in the right headspace. I'll explain later, but will you have a look, please?
All right. He kind of looks at you with a weird look on his face, and he begins to investigate. Okay. He pushes past you into the granary and begins searching around. And with his 22 in investigation, he says, "Over here. Look, come here."
And I'll go take a look.
In the back wall of the granary, between the stones that make the actual wall of the granary, there is a spring with a rope that runs through the wall. You just see this rope going into a hole that you're pretty sure leads to outside.
Is this some kind of mechanism?
Something like that. I don't know what it's to. Do you have any guesses?
Maybe a door that opens up under one of these things?
Oh, it runs outside. Maybe we should go take a look out there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll head up.
Roll me stealth.
The 16.
Okay. You and Matthew both stealth as you go out and around the granary toward the far side. You don't see anything obvious. I'd like you to roll me perception.
24.
24. Yes. You see that on the back of this building here, there's lots of grass that's grown up against the wall of the building. And there's one part where the grass doesn't look right. The grass looks as if it was placed there. It was well hidden, and it would blend into a not careful eye, but as you meticulously look over this, you spot that it is out of place.
Right, Matthew. Does that look odd to you?
He looks at it and he says, "That looks fucked."
Right. Probably covering a door then.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is this where we should probably grab him?
Maybe we should take a peek first.
Right, okay, sure. I'll reach down and pull the grass back.
You see there is a trap door hidden beneath this patch of grass. As you do that, I need you to roll me another perception check.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say deck save. God damn it. Nope, 11.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm not the best at looking for traps.
I got you.
Right,
And
right.
Matthew, takes the grass from you and begins inspecting the edges of this trap door. Matthew is good at searching for traps. And as he runs his fingertips over the edge of the door, they catch on a small little wire, and he says, good thing I'm here, right? And he deftly pulls out a pair of what look like basically sharp pliers, and he snips the wire and tucks it up underneath the door, and then he lifts the door open, and you see that beneath the door is some stairs that lead to another door, a much wider door. I think now it's time to get our friend, huh?
Right. If you want to run and grab him, I'll stay and listen for anyone.
All right, hold this up. I don't know if it'll reset if I let it go.
Right. Okay, I'll grab the door and hold it.
Okay. Matthew slinks off toward the guard, and you are left there for a few moments. Roll me perception.
Right. I will close my eyes and try to do nothing but sound.
Okay, you focus on listening.
13.
You don't hear anything aside from the sound of people walking on the street behind you and the sound of the guard now heading toward you. It's not quiet.
Yeah, no. I look up and I just shake my head.
Matthew kind of tilts his head with a shrug. And with a 13, right as the guard gets there, you hear the sound of wood on wood coming from the door below. Not on the door, but perhaps someone in a room behind it does something. You hear a scrape.
I think they're preparing for us. They heard you coming.
The guard draws a large battle axe and a shield and says, "Then we'll take them by force." And Matthew says, "Well, they heard that." All right. And the guard marches his way down the stairs. And
As he does, I lean over to Matthew. I go, "No tact at all."
he shakes his head at you. None. The guard reaches out and tries to open the door, and there is a block on it. And the guard says, "This door is locked. You didn't check?" And Matthew says, "No, you said to come get you." Move. Matthew squeezes his way past the guard and will attempt to lockpick the door.
Okay.
The guard looks at you, and as he does, hold on, Matthew unlocks the door, and before he can start searching it for traps, the guard reaches out to shove him out of the way, and Matthew says, "Wait! Come on!" And he there's a struggle a little bit as the guard's trying to push his way past, and Matthew looks at you and says, "Give me a hand here, would you?"
Yeah, I jumped down. He's gotta check it for traps. You don't want to blow your fucking self up, do you?
I'm in a hurry. We have to get in there before they can get away.
Okay, get in there at your own risk and die then. I'm not gonna open that door without it checked.
Roll persuasion at advantage.
Okay. Persuasion. 14?
14. Hold on. The guard looks at you. You can't really tell, but his eyes, you do see that his eyes are narrowed behind the visor, and he says, if they get away, it's on your head. And he steps
fine.
back.
At least it'll be alive.
Matthew steps back up to the door, and he will finally investigate for traps. And with a 19, you hear him, it was a fire trap, you son. And he unhooks the triggering mechanism. Would have actually blown us all up. Now, go on and stomp in. And as now given permission, the guard certainly does. He throws the door open and charges in. And I need to make a quick little thing here. Hold on a second. I have to find the tokens that I keep misplacing, and it's very frustrating. Okay. And where'd Matthew go? There's Matthew behind him, and you are here. As the door is thrown open, you see, with your high passive perception, a individual who looks very shady dive behind this crate.
Right. I'll point that out.
The guard, Martin, seeing you point it out, like pushes his way around this crate and says, "You, stop! You're under arrest in the name of the Ferrum Guard." And the thug says, "Yeah, right." And that's initiative.
Right.
Hold on a minute. I do believe, yes, this is going to be a lot of initiative here. We'll just focus on these for now.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll for me. Roll your initiative.
Well. Gross.
Okay, the guard is on a 3. You are up first.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna come down here and just beat the shit out of him.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and make your attacks.
Yeah. Natural 20.
That's a good first hit. Yeah, go
It
ahead and roll
sure
damage.
is. I'm trying to knock this man out. This hand is coming up and under the jaw.
So non-lethal. Go for it.
Yep.
Okay. So you rolled a 3. That's 10 points of bludgeoning damage. Boom!
Right.
It's just, you hear the sound of his teeth clap together from the blow. Just,
Oh, God.
and he's like knocked back from the force of the blow. You have your bonus action attack, or you can flurry of blows and make 2 attacks.
I cannot flurry of blows because I don't have key points. I'm still level 1.
Sorry, you can't do that, but you can punch him with a bonus action.
Yeah, I will do that. Gonna try to bring my... Nope.
No. Actually, no. All right.
Yep.
Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. I'm trying to punch in the number, not move him. Okay. Your first round is quick and painful as you crack his jaw together, but the follow-up, his own staggering back, just makes you whiff. There's no grace to it. He just was like, whoa, like almost falling into the crate. It's now Matthew's turn. Matthew, you are in melee with him. Matthew will run past you and will non-lethally throw a dagger.
Just imagine him grabbing the blade and hitting him with the hilt end.
Sure, that works for me. You are in melee with him, so he does have sneak attack as a rogue. He hits with a 17.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here the flavor of what happens is, oh man, yeah. He slides across the crate, and as he does, he just hits him in the back of the head with the dagger, and the guy thuds unconscious. Let me do one of these. Yep. And the guard looks between the unconscious guard and you two and says, "Now they know we're here." And Matthew says, "That's your fault! What the fuck?" This room is dimly lit from lantern light that glances underneath these two doors. You see this room is also full of what look like just crates and barrels. The far side of the room you see is another stairway. So, how do you proceed?
I proceed by pulling some rope out and tying this man up.
Okay, roll me a survival. Okay, Matthew sees you do this knot that's really sorry, and he says, "Hey, I realize you're not in it, but pay attention." And he's going to give you the help action. Go ahead and roll again.
No, sorry. I just... Yep. Slightly better, 13.
Matthew, seeing that, looks over at the guard and says, "Be careful. They might have some sort of mage or something. I think they might have done a befuddlement charm on Levi here."
Yeah, my head's still foggy. I'm sorry.
The guard nods, raising the battle axe, and will proceed on to the next door. With no grace, he yanks on the door, and he says, "This is locked too." And Matthew, next to you, says, "Fucking hell, just wait. Let me do my job." And he will dart up next to the guard.
God, I am going to go here and listen to make sure nobody's coming from the door or the stairway below.
Roll perception.
Sean. 18.
From this door, you hear distant voices. They're quickly hushed and muttering, and then you hear the sounds of what you imagine is probably a large cat. And then you hear metal rattling. Probably.
Guys, there's people in here with crag cats.
Matthew's currently investigating this door, and he says, Do you want me to stop? Go to that door then? Or focus here?
We should deal with the cats first. If they get loose,
Right. Okay. Matthew looks at the guard and says, "This way," and runs. Carefully sneaks his way to this door. And the guard, looking at this door as if it's offended him, will shake its head and then run over here. There is, Matthew's trying to be sneaky, but the guard is not, so don't bother rolling stealth.
Yeah.
Unless you want to try and pull something I'm not expecting. Which could be. I don't know. You might have a plan. It takes a moment, but Matthew does eventually get this door unlocked. And he holds up a hand to the guard before the guard can even move. And he says, "I'm checking this for traps before we have this argument again." And he does check it for traps. And it is trapped. And he manages to disarm what looks like a poison dart trap. And as he does, he picks up 3 poison darts and he says, "Do you want these?" He's holding them to you.
Yeah, I'll take them.
Okay, you have 3 darts with 2d8 poison on them.
Oh, that's some pretty good poison. Jesus fuck.
Imagine if that trap had gone off. And then, how do we want to proceed here? Just brute force or sneak in?
I think it's brute force, because if they let the cats out the cage before we get in there, it's all bad.
Good point. And the guard says, "I've heard enough." And he will slam the door open. And as he does, this individual fires a heavy crossbow. He had held his action.
We'll teach the guard.
It is at the guard, because the guard's the most obvious individual. As Matthew's slunked down and you're around the corner. And the guard takes a heavy crossbow bolt to the chest for 5 points of piercing damage. And the guard, "Ugh, you're breaking the law. You're all under arrest." And you hear, with your high passive, some chattering coming from behind this door. And now that you're looking in this room, you see that there is a kobold just across a narrow water bridge. What looks like it's probably attached to the sewers or something of Farum. And these cages, each one has a huge cat in each one, a crag cat. That is, they look hungry, they look cramped. These cages are clearly not designed for as big a creature as a crag cat. And we're back into initiative. We're back at the top. It's your turn.
So I need to move. I need to move down to the door. I don't know.
No, this it's a double door. So the guard slammed it open, so you can see this whole opening is open to you.
Okay, okay. All right then. I guess I'll take my movement.
The wall might clip for you. You might have to. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so over here. I don't like that kobold. How far is he? Fuck! I can't even hit him with a dart.
You do see another kobold and the original thug that were taking cover behind that crate.
20 feet. Alright, if that's the case... can I retcon my movement a little bit? I didn't know how far that was. I should have measured first.
Yes.
I just want to be here instead.
That's fine.
I will use my breath attack on the guard and the kobold.
Okay. They have to roll a dex save. Did I modify your breath attack?
You did not. It's a con save.
Okay. It's just your breath attack adds your con modifier to the damage.
Okay, so it's 2d6 plus 3 then.
Okay. Level 1.
And the con save is 13.
Level 1. Level 1.
Yeah.
He rolled an 11.
He fails. He takes 9 points of cold damage.
Do you hit the kobold as well?
Yeah, it's a 15-foot cone.
Hold on. The kobold also failed with a 12.
The 9 points of cold damage.
9 to each. Okay, not too shabby. And 9 to the... Oh, the kobold's dead.
Yeah, I guess I can't really non-lethal cold damage, huh?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think that through.
Hey, it happens. Kobold's only got 5 hit points.
I didn't know that either. Shit.
Yep. It happens. The kobold freezes and just falls flat on its back. And the thug looks back at it and says, "Oi, what are you playing at?" And he raises the heavy crossbow to you. Matthew runs into the room. He will dart here. He sees the kobold across by the crag cats and he says, "Don't let him open the cages!" And he pulls out his short bow and will fire. Non-lethally. He's aiming for the knees, as it were. And he hits with a natural 20. Okay. Yeah, Kobold's done. I don't even have to roll damage. So the crit... He was aiming for the knees. How do I... Okay.
I don't think you can do non-lethal on a crit, can you?
Yeah, if you declare non-lethal, it's non-lethal no matter what.
Okay.
So the short bow arrow... There's a wooden lining to these water channels, and the kobold is knocked down, and its leg is pinned to the wooden channel as the kobold is knocked unconscious. There. Right, I did it. I did it!
I'm gonna be the only one to kill someone. God damn it.
Now it's just the thieves' turn, as all of this has gone to shit very quickly for him. He rings a bell.
Okay.
Hold on. Which means I have to roll.
That was a lot. That was a lot of dice.
It was a lot of dice. But that was his bonus action. For his action, he looses the heavy crossbow that he was aiming at you. Does a 16 hit you?
It does not.
Okay. You manage to dip to the side just as the bolt right past you, and you hear it clatter against the wall behind you. And then the thug will run as far as he can. That's his turn. It's now the guard's turn. The guard with battle axe and shield runs into the room and says, "You're all under arrest in the name of the Ferrum Guard. Quit running or this is going to be much worse for you." As he runs past the frozen kobold with his... He doesn't have anything ranged. All right, he just double moves after the guard and gets in front of him. That's it for his turn. It's now someone else's turn.
Some good music.
Thank you. I thought appropriate for a thieves' den sort of thing. This door flies open, and a thug appears. Looking out, sees all of you. "You're in the nest now, boys," he says to you. And he will fire a heavy crossbow at... He doesn't see the guard. It's at you or the Matthew. Evens or odds?
I'll take evens.
I rolled a 5, so it's going at Matthew. But it's a 10 to hit, which cannot hit. Well, the bolt right over and clatters against the stairs. And then this bandit will dive back behind the wall and take cover. Another individual rounds up over here, and he says, "Look who we have down here with us. It's a shame you had to bring a guard. We would have let you go peacefully, just as students you are." And he raises a pistol. Evens or odds once more, please?
I'll take evens.
I rolled a 3. It's going after Matthew. He raises this pistol and he fires it, slamming Matthew in the shoulder. And you hear Mothwell just, "Oh!" as he is nailed for 9 points of piercing damage. Suddenly bleeding heavily, Matthew says, "That's playing dirty, isn't it? Bringing a gun to a knife fight." This individual just seems to shrug and begins to reload. It's now another individual's turn. He spends his whole movement, because he was at the other door, and he's going to have to bonus action move. You see a halfling look around the corner and say, "Oh! You never said there'd be this many!" And then that's his turn, because he had to run. This guy makes it to the corner, and he draws a longsword, and will double move, and he makes his way right up into Matthew's face. And that's his turn. It's your turn. Go ahead.
Too far. So we're gonna come here. And then
Okay, you're flanking.
I'm just gonna punch this dude in the back of his head.
Okay.
19
Roll an
hit.
attack with advantage. Oh, yeah. These guys are wearing studded leather.
Yeah. That's 6 points of damage. And then I'll take another strike with my elbow.
Okay.
16 hit.
Yep.
Right. And then that's 4 damage.
4 damage. Okay. He is immediately bloodied by your barrage of your fists of fury as you bash him in the back. And he whips around with his longsword brandished at you, and he says, "That's hardly fair now, is it? Hitting a man who's not looking."
Shooting a man who can't protect himself.
I didn't shoot
And I'll
him.
look over my shoulder.
And then Matthew says, "You should pay attention to me," as he stabs him. With a short sword. Let's see how he does. He has advantage because of flanking.
Right?
Yeah, he's hitting him with the
Okay.
pommel. Plus sneak attack. Okay. The dude had 10 hit points left. Matthew does 15 points of non-lethal damage. So what actually happens is, "That's hardly fair," and he's unconscious. Hold on a minute. Let me add that modifier because he's not making death saves. All right. Then Matthew will smile at you as the man falls over, and then will rush over here, and he will bonus action hide because he's a rogue and he needs to do his job.
Yeah.
Especially since that hurt a lot. Okay, his stealth is a 19. It's now this individual's turn, the one right by the guard, who will raise his own longsword and make an attack on the guard with it. And misses with a 14. That's...
The guard hasn't actually hit anybody yet.
Not yet. He's about to. It's now the guard's turn. The guard will swing his longsword. Not longsword, wow. His battle axe. And as he basically whips the battle axe around and clubs this thug with the hammer side of it. And he rolls a natural 20 for a 26.
Good night, sweet prince.
Probably. Let's find out. It is a battle axe. Yeah. He rolled a 7 plus 8 plus 4. 12. Oh, he's up with 1 hit point.
God
Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
He was already hit. Down he goes.
Yeah, that's right. I did 9 damage to him.
Yeah, he's unconscious. The guard will immediately begin to run back. Back into the fray. And as he sees all these individuals, he says, "All of you are under arrest in the name of the Ferrum Guard." And back to this thug's turn. We'll whip around and fire the crossbow at the guard. Maybe he'll actually hit this time. Who knows? X to doubt. That's a 9 to hit. No.
Yeah.
And he will take cover again. Next, the leader will raise the pistol and fire it at the guard. A new enemy has appeared. That's a 24 to hit, which certainly hits. So he shoots the guard for 8 points of piercing damage. Just and the guard winces as his armor does not protect him from a pistol at all. Hold on. Okay. The little guy will whip around the corner and look at you, and he raises his hand, and 4 magical darts out toward you as he casts a magic missile.
This little fuck.
Okay. Now I'm going to let you choose. Do you want me to roll each one, or do you want me to roll one and count it for all 4?
1 and all 4 is fine.
Okay. I've rolled a 2. So you take 14 points of force damage.
Hey.
It was a big spell. The halfling criminal sees them slam into you, and you're still standing, and he says, "Oh!" and he runs back. You hear him mutter, "That's all I had!" And then this one is unconscious. So now it's your turn.
Alright. I run right up to this man.
Okay, the leader, yes. As you do, he draws a scimitar in his offhand.
Right. Stick to the sword, and I'll punch him right in the face.
Okay.
23 to hit.
Oh yeah, that hits.
7 damage, and then I'll throw another one.
Okay.
That definitely doesn't hit. 14.
You say that, but it does hit.
Oh, okay.
That is his AC.
6 points of damage.
Okay, 6 points of damage. That's a good round.
Yeah, 13 points of damage.
Pop, pop, as they say. The leader is startled at the sudden quickness of your blows, and he just, "Oh, you fucking dragonborn," and he will raise the scimitar, but not do anything because it's not his turn yet. Matthew will appear around this side of the crate, and he sees that you are fighting the leader with the pistol, and he saw this halfling cast a spell, and he says, No. Maxwell always says, casters first, and he shoots the short bow. And he has advantage because he was hidden. Let me roll again, because I forgot that until I just said that out loud. That's a 25 to hit. Okay. Non-lethal, short bow, here it comes, plus sneak attack.
Yeah.
He hits the halfling for 12 points of damage, and oddly enough, as a halfling caster, he's unconscious.
Never would have guessed.
He only had 10 hit points.
God,
Okay.
he's barely above a kobold.
I mean, he's a mage.
Yeah, that's fair.
And down he goes. Level 1. Level 1. Matthew will run behind this pillar. Oh, no, that's way too far. Okay, he'll try and dive behind this crate and will try to stealth, but it's at disadvantage because he didn't really move very much.
Yeah.
That's a natural 20 and a 3. Okay,
Oh,
he is
the
not
duality.
hidden well. Yeah, he dives behind the crate and you see his foot just sticking out. He does his best. This individual is unconscious. The guard runs. And doesn't get within melee of anyone, but he will double move and flank the leader who shot him. It's now this individual's turn. He will draw a longsword and will run up to flank. Roll me odds or evens, please.
Evens.
Okay. That's odds. He's flanking the guard. I rolled
Every
a 3.
time.
Every time. It's a 50-50 chance. You know how it goes?
I'll take it.
I guess so. You don't have a choice. Okay. As he makes it there, he's going to make an attack with his longsword on the guard at advantage. That's a 3 and an 18. Plus, yeah, that'll hit. Okay. Hold on a second. He hits the guard for 6 points of slashing damage. The guard winces as the blade gets in between plates of armor. They don't seem to have any problems swinging lethally. It's now the leader who's facing you. He's going to swing his scimitar at you.
Come on, princess.
You're not so pretty yourself. And that's an 18 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, you do take 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And he will offhand shoot at disadvantage with the revolver. That is a 9.
That misses.
Yeah, turns out. That's his turn. It's now the mage. He's unconscious. It's now your turn. You have advantage.
Good enough to make you miss, apparently, and I'll uppercut him.
Okay. Go ahead. Roll your attack at advantage.
Yeah, 24.
24 certainly hits.
And then we'll do it again.
Okay, so that's 4.
19. Another 4.
Okay. Yes, that hits as well. The leader does not look good. Matthew, having failed to stealth, he like stands up sheepishly and says, well, shit. All right. Okay. And he will run up. He will bonus action dash to get behind the thug. And he will say, this would all be much easier if you all just, gave up. And he will swing his short sword at advantage.
There's so much flanking going on.
There it is, a chain. That's a 20 to hit. He hits non-lethal. He deals 6+ sneak attack.
Yeah.
He rolled a max on his sneak attack. He deals 18 points of damage.
Good night.
Yeah, thug is unconscious. As that happens, the leader, seeing these his coterie being defeated, I'm going to roll a morality check for him. Seeing his party beaten and defeated, the leader, and looking at you, he has the revolver like pointed at you and the scimitar up, ready to swing. He just throws him to the ground and holds his hands up. I yield. I yield.
My choice.
The guard doesn't seem to care. The guard makes a swing with his battle axe.
And I guess there's nothing I can do, is there?
What do you have in mind?
I want to try to stop him because this man gave up the will to fight. That's fucked up.
Okay. I'll let you. if you have a creative solution here, I'll let you spend a reaction.
I wouldn't call it creative, more like stupid. I want to like move the man and like step in between him and the blade. The battle axe.
Okay. Roll me in athletics.
Oh god damn it.
The bandit does not expect the guard a 3. The bandit
Natural.
does not expect the swing to come from the guard at all. With a natural 1, okay, I'm going to roll athletics for the bandit, and if he rolls above a 3, he gets hit by the battle axe, or at least the attack goes through.
He's gonna roll above a 3.
You don't know. He might not. I rolled a 14. Okay.
Yeah.
The guard continues the attack. The guard hits with a 19, slamming the battle axe into the unarmed man's back. Hitting him for 11 points of slashing damage.
Is he still up?
No. The leader goes down from the swipe of the battle axe. And as he does, you see that the battle axe, that was not the hammer side of the battle axe. That was not a non-lethal blow. And the leader is bleeding on the ground. The guard looks at you, and he says, "Well done. Simple
What the
enough."
fuck is wrong with you? I'm gonna get down and try to fucking tend to this man's wounds. I'm gonna take cloth out and try to stop the bleeding.
The guard puts the edge of the battle axe to your neck and says, "Leave him alone,
Or what?
or you're under arrest as well."
You'd kill an innocent man who surrendered his weapons and his will to fight?
He wasn't innocent. He was the problem with this town.
No shit. You punish him. He does his time. You don't take his life. It is not for you to choose. And I'm still attempting to bandage this man.
Okay. Roll me a persuasion check. Or intimidation check. It's up to you.
They're the same.
Okay? It's your choice. It's just the flavor here.
Persuasion. Yeah.
Okay.
19.
You give the guard pause long enough. He still has the battle axe to your shoulder. But go ahead and roll me medicine.
Okay. Yeah. Natural 20. For a 25.
You stabilize him.
Fuck!
As you stabilize him, the guard, like, almost pushes the battle axe into your shoulder and says, "Are you happy now?
Yes,
You saved a
fucking take
low-life
him, man.
scumbag."
His
I'll
life
remember
is
this.
not for one man to choose.
His life was forfeit as soon as he broke the crimes he did.
Right. He'll be judged by someone other than you. Who is your superior? Who do I speak to about you?
Captain Hallstrom leads the guard,
Right.
and he'll agree with me.
So be it then. I
You
guess
see-
we're done here.
You see Matthew, like, behind it all, says, "Yeah, we're done. That was everyone, I think."
There's still a downstairs to check.
All right. I'll go check the door. And he, eager to get away from this tense moment, Matthew just fucking runs. The guard is looking at you over the body of the leader who you have stabilized. "Tie him up."
I'll grab some rope out and tie him up.
Roll survival.
15.
Okay. What do you do after you tie him up?
I'm gonna stay here and wait for Matthew. Because I don't trust this guard around these people.
Fair enough. Matthew will roll. Okay. And he checks for traps because he's undisturbed. He, uh, okay, I need to roll a dex save for him.
Oh shit.
He failed.
Oh shit.
Okay,
Is
he
there an
succeeded.
explosion?
You hear a, and you hear, I'm okay. Ow.
Yep. I just go to the door and I take a look out.
You see Matthew is like a few steps away from the door, and there are a couple of bolts in his shoulder, but the door is open. It was a tricky one, he says as he hears you around the corner.
Alright. Did you see anyone inside?
He looks and he says, "It looks like a storeroom. There's lots of barrels." While
right.
you are here, I need you to roll me a d6.
3.
Okay.
No.
Yes. You hear the sound of a battle axe slam into, well, a person.
Oh. I need to make a wisdom save. Oh, this is gonna be bad. I think the DC here is 17.
Okay.
Alright, well,
That's
I
successful.
managed to keep calm. Just gonna walk back in.
The leader is bleeding once more from a fresh battle axe wound to his chest. And the guard has raised the battle axe again and is about to make another attack.
I'm gonna spear the guard and try to push him back, just like run and tackle him.
Okay. In that case, hold on. I need you to roll. Well, it's just going to be initiative again. You are faster than the guard can swing.
Oh, God.
Go ahead and roll me athletics.
Oh, yep, that's right. My athletics is shit. His is gonna be real good. It's gonna be all bad. 15.
Okay, hold on. As you slam into him, he shakes you off and he says, "You never should have given me pause in the first place." And he raises the battle axe up again to swing. It's still your turn. You have a bonus action. You are now next to him as you slammed into him and couldn't move him.
Did that count as an attack?
Yes,
Me trying to
the
push
shove
him
was
off?
the shove was an attack.
Right, I'm gonna punch him.
Oh, all right. Roll an attack. AC
Nope,
is
he's got
18.
plate armor on. Yep, 14. Bounces off his plate armor.
As you strike him, he looks at you in surprise and says, "You would attack a town guard." Criminals
Guard
everywhere.
wouldn't murder.
His life was forfeit. I told you already. And he swings the battle axe at you.
That's perfectly fine. You can swing it at me.
That's a 16 to hit.
It misses.
Okay, that's his turn.
On my turn, I'm going to yell for Matthew. Get someone from the academy now!
On your turn, you hear Matthew say, "You got it!" As he will action, he will move, action, and dash, and runs 90 feet. What do you do?
I'm gonna try to knock this man out. I'm gonna punch him with everything I got.
Okay, go ahead and make your attacks.
23.
That hits.
And these are all non-lethal.
Okay.
For 4 damage, punch again. For a natural 20.
Okay. Yeah, you slam him. How do you knock him out?
Just right under the fucking chin with my first hit, and then the second one I'm gonna step back and roundhouse to knock his head and give him that whiplash to make him drop unconscious.
You sure enough do with that crit. The lashing out of your foot. That's another 4. And down he goes. Yeah. He had 10 hit points. He got shot as his head snaps back and he slumps on the ground, and you see that the leader is bleeding and making death saving throws, which I need to roll right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to him and stabilize him again.
Roll a medicine check. He has 2 failed death saving throws from the strike from the battle axe.
Well, then he probably fails this because I rolled a 9. I probably kill him.
He rolled a 3.
Oh.
As the blood is seeping out of him, you feel his breath still as you attempted to save this criminal's, albeit maybe not one that should have died for this. He dies at your feet. Matthew is gone. He's run to go exactly as you asked him to do. And you find yourself alone in this thieves' den.
I'm gonna
The guard.
the guard.
Okay. Roll survival.
9. Jeez, I can't roll on the good things.
You do have all the time you need, so you can roll this with advantage.
Okay, good. Nope.
Maybe a little shaken by the events of today. Maybe still a little bit shaken by what you experienced before. All that happens now is you hear the sounds of the crag cats quietly complaining and whining about their tight confines. And you are alone with a bunch of unconscious people.
I'm just gonna sit on my knees and try to meditate and focus and calm down. And I'm just gonna wait till someone comes.
Okay. Let's see. Roll me a D10. Okay, interesting. The sound of footsteps approach after about 10 minutes. They're hurried. Matthew has made it back, and behind him is Maxwell, his instructor, which makes sense.
Yep.
You hear Matthew say, this way, and they're running. You hear Maxwell make a note of the thief that was bound up, and then as they round the corner, Maxwell is right behind him, and he sees what is going on in here. And he says, I didn't know there were new players in town. Oh, shite. And he sees you with the bound up guard kneel down and the slain leader. And as they approach, Maxwell will, step up and look at you and say, Levi? What happened to you?
Very shakily and through, quick breaths. He's still a little panicked. The leader forfeit. He gave up and said he'd come in and be arrested. Guard captain didn't care. He swung his battle axe and almost killed the man. I managed to stabilize him, and Matthew triggered the traps out there, so I went to check on him. I came back in to see the guard trying to finish him off. Again, he swung his battle axe and almost ended him, and I tried to stop him, and he swung his axe on me. I rendered him unconscious and tried to save the leader, and well, it's too late.
Shite. Alright, are you sure about this? And roll me a persuasion check. At advantage. Because that does corroborate with what Matthew had told him.
50.
Okay. Maxwell steps up and he kneels over the fallen guard and removes the helmet. And he says, "Oh, I don't recognize him. He must be one of the new conscripts from Alger City. Alright, here's what we do. Are you alright?" And he looks at you.
I'm about. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm above half health. I'm doing all right.
Alright, good. We're gonna tie up the rest of these thieves, and then I will report to Captain Holstrom of the City Guard. And he will pick up the card and like firemen's carry him over his shoulder. "We'll handle this. As it's Marigold's responsibility, when something goes wrong, I will take care of it, so Persh doesn't get mad at you. You did fine." And you see he's kind of straining a little bit under the weight, but he does carry the guard over his shoulder. And as he's gathered, Maxwell will whip around to Matthew and say, "You two did well. You have my commendations, which matters, so... I wish I could say this was the first time something like this happened, but, you know, heat of the moment, and people letting power go to their heads. You did well.
Thank you.
Let's get on out of here." And he shrugs the guard's body back up onto his shoulder.
Would you like some help with that?
No, I got it. I got it
Alright.
just fine. If I had Elrad with me. And he just walks out.
I follow.
Okay.
I'll start walking next to Matthew. I'll go. Thanks for being so fast.
Matthew says, "Hey, typically I run from the guard, so..."
That's fair. That's fair.
As the three of you make your way out of the thieves' den, Maxwell, with the guard's body over his shoulder, will point to a patrol toward the actual chapel gate and say, "Oi, you three, come here." And the guards, at first they're like, "Oh, what now?" And then they see Lieutenant Holland's body over Maxwell's shoulder, and they are cautious as they approach, and they say, "Instructor Maxwell, you mind explaining why you have Lieutenant over your shoulder?" And Maxwell says, "It's a long story, but I'm sure he'd be happy to recount it to Captain Holstrom, with me right there next to him, making sure everything's true. In the meantime, why don't you take him back to headquarters and get him cleaned up?" And the guard look between you and Matthew and Maxwell, and one of them steps forward and does take the lieutenant away from Maxwell. And you see there is like some tension. They're not accustomed to being handed their commanding officer. Maxwell, after they take the body, he kind of flexes his shoulder and he says, "Lieutenant here decided to take the law into his own hands, right in front of my students. So, you can imagine that didn't go over so well. He ended up getting in over his head with the bandits down in that thieves' den," and he points to the granary. "There's a trapdoor around the back. You're going to want to refree and restrain the crag cats that are kept up in cages down below. You may need a team for it. They seem healthy and large." You see the guards look between each other, and one of them says, "That's what I thought Lieutenant was..." And Maxwell says, "He was doing poorly." You see the guards kind of look between each other, and Maxwell says, "Matthew, Levi, why don't you head on back and report to Persh while I sort this out?"
Right. Do I We tell him exactly what happened.
Every last detail.
Right. Will do. Thank you very much.
Maxwell, to you, Levi, he puts a hand on your shoulder and squeezes it. And he says,
You did your best. And it was enough.
Suppose.
Off you go.
Right. We head back.
okay. The last thing you see is Maxwell heading with the guards toward their headquarters, the constabulary. And Matthew's with you. And he is quiet as you are making your way back. It's only once you get to the actual gates that Matthew says, well, that was right fucked.
I think Levi is going to be lost in thought about how he couldn't save that man. And if, he just hadn't went and checked on Matthew, everything else would have been fine. So he's not paying attention at all.
I think Matthew would just take your silence as agreement as you arrive back at the Maryguard Academy. This guard's gone. As you have arrived, and Matthew's with you, Persh looks up and says, well, that didn't take you too long. How did it go?
It was almost good. And then I will tell him the entire story.
You don't leave anything out?
Nothing. I even tell him about how the guard was impatient and tried to trigger the traps and blamed us for if they got away, and everything. Every little detail about how shitty that guard was.
Roll just a charisma check to see how well you retell the story. If you stumble over your words from the tension and adrenaline.
I stumble all over everything.
It takes a while, and yeah, it's rough retelling, but you do eventually, over the next 15 minutes, finally get the story out.
Whole thing.
Matthew does help get some of the points across that are more difficult, like the nature of the traps, and that it truly would have been dangerous if he had not actually disarmed them, and just how much danger the guard had put you in. And over the next 15 minutes, as Persh is making notes, at one point he stops you and says, hold on a minute, and he picks up the sending stone. Maxwell, I have 2 individuals here that said they reported to you what happened, and then he's quiet for a long time as he's listening. And then he sets the sending stone down, and he says, well, it sounds as though a job went south, and you did your best with what you had, which is exactly what we expect from our contractors, so a job well handled, considering. As always, there will be unknown factors in every one of these tasks, and in this case, it was the client who was the unknown factor. That does happen. There's not much you can do about it. I appreciate the fact that you've been honest and forthcoming with what happened. It's a shame you could not preserve the life of their leader, as they would have been the one to have contacts, but we can have Treat go and maybe speak with the dead, as he is wont to do sometimes. In the meantime, Levi, Matthew, a job well done. This was a bonus promised by the lieutenant, and he puts a pouch of gold on the counter, if the job was completed smoothly and successfully, but I have no intention of returning this gold to that individual. So, it's yours.
Thank you, Perch.
You can add 100 gold to your inventory, as Matthew gets 100 gold as well.
Yeah! That makes it almost okay.
Persh says, you have the rest of the day to yourselves. If you need tomorrow off as well, I'm sure Iriakis and Maxwell will understand. And without missing a beat, Matthew says, I could use the day off. I'd like to wash that from my hands.
Nope. I'll resume training tomorrow. In fact, I'm gonna go to the sanctuary now.
Very well. In that case, have a good afternoon. and Persh begins filling out another form. Matthew, he stops you and he says, "Hey, I know that went bad, but we worked well together. And you ever
It was
need,
definitely a pleasure.
you ever need some grease behind the wheels, I don't mind helping you again."
Yeah, that sounds nice. And I'll put my hand out to shake his.
He shakes it.
Have a
And,
good rest of your day.
"Oh, I'm going to enjoy my day off. I'm going straight to the Merry Guard." And he just turns around and walks out.
I go straight to Iriakis' class.
Okay. As you return to Iriakis' sanctuary, you find Wash and Kyo are sparring. And Wash is losing. Which is likely due to how she was already not feeling super great at the beginning of the day. But they've been sparring, and you can tell by their slowed movements, they've been sparring since you left.
Oh, brother.
It's been a long day for them. Ariakis looks to you. And you
I
see...
look fucked up.
Yeah, you're hurt. But I'd like you to roll me an insight check.
Oh, I didn't mean like physically. I meant like you could tell I'm defeated and my morale is fucked and I look like I just want to give up. And I'm not one. That tells everything.
Okay. Ariakis raises a hand to Wash and Kyo. "Why don't you two take a break?" And you hear Wash say, in Aquan, "Thank gods." And they both kind of sit in the water up against the stone walls around the sanctuary. And Ariakis approaches you and he says, "This is not the look of a man who's had a pleasant day."
It's been quite the opposite, actually.
"Are you here to report a failure of mission?"
Oh, we finished the mission. It's just what happened on the mission that plagues me.
Ariakis nods. "Do you wish to share it?"
I will tell him what happened, and that I'm looking to calm my mind and try to get through this.
Ariakis listens, and he does not interrupt you. He lets you stumble and stutter and shakily tell your way through the entire event. When you finally finish, he gestures for you to follow him.
I'll follow.
As he leads you away from Wash and Kyo. You follow him along a path to the south, behind the door you typically walk through. And as you're making your way, it's almost like the origin of where all this water comes from. It's a narrow stream that seems as though suddenly the edges of it give way, and you can see clouds off to the sides. And before you know it, Iriakis suddenly sits down, and he lets his feet hang over the edge, over the clouds. "You are new, both to the fallibilities of man and what power can do to one.
I'm not a stranger to death or murder. So why is it this plagues me?"
Ariakis kind of doesn't look at you as he's looking out over this truly beautiful landscape. Skyscape. And he says, "Perhaps it is figures in power that we trust. And when they betray that trust, it shakes us to our very core. This man, Lieutenant Hallen,
He abused the power given to him by the people. And you watched it happen. Power corrupts. Always. Great or small. When someone is granted strength over others, it requires great force of will to keep yourself in check.
That it does.
You have sought out audience with Myriad. It is rare to be granted audience with a god one-on-one, even one so whimsical as Myriad himself. That is power.
And as he says that, I kind of regain some of my thought as I remember what happened before we went down there. And I'll look at him, and it's funny that you say that. During my meeting with Myriad, he showed me what it was like to be lost in time.
Mm.
And I sort of had that happen today. Everything lost its color and everything was frozen. So I tried
Yes.
to reach out to Myriad. And there was this man who answered me instead. He was bald and orc, human, I don't know. But he said they were watching, and they had decisions to make. I'd almost nearly forgotten about it.
Have you considered your future, Levi?
No, I haven't.
As you grow, you develop your chi, how you focus your power. As a monk, you must decide what channels your spiritual energy will follow. It is a choice not taken lightly. The individual you describe reminds me of a man I know well. Did he give you his name?
I forgot to write it down, and that's me, so I don't actually remember it.
He said his name was Gannett the Unmoving.
Right, Gannett. Yeah, I'll tell him that.
Gannett. Interesting. There is the way of elements, where one can use their spiritual energy to change the nature of the world around them, and use fire, earth, water, even wind, to their advantage. There is the way of the shadow, where disciples can practice in darkness, even teleport their way from shadow to shadow. Gannett is a practitioner of the bending palm, as am I. It is curious to me that he would reach out to you, of my students, but you have shown good judgment, and today is such an example. Perhaps, as you grow stronger, and should Gannett reach out to you again, you will see the bending gardens yourself.
And I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Perception. Fucking 12.
As you're looking out over the skyscape, the clouds that roil and move below you, you can't help but feel like just behind those clouds, there's something green and moving, as if there is another forest or stonework or water
something moving just out of sight and hidden in the fog below.
You know, Ariakis, after today, I think I have a little more insight about my future.
A day is not worth anything if you do not gain something from it, even if that is just a new thought or a new idea.
Feel better, thank you.
I did nothing. The balance came from within you.
Sometimes guidance is all you need.
Why don't you get yourself something to eat? For you look famished.
Yeah, and at this point I do realize I am fucking starving. Right, I guess I'll see you tomorrow then.
You most certainly will.
Have a good day, Ariakis. I'll bow
And you
head
as
out.
well.
And as you leave, coming across Wash and Kiel back training again. You've made it to level 2,
Ah,
and that is where we will stop today's session.
yeah.
All right.
Great session.
I'm glad. I hope you had a good time. The moral quandaries are always fun when you run across them.
Oh boy, if I would have failed that whiz save, I might have ate that man. Fucking hell.
Thank you for playing with me. And to anybody watching, thank you. I can't wait to see you again next week, and we love you. All right.
Did I roll Gannett? Is that what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Or was that planned?
You rolled it.
Oh shit.
Something big was going to happen. There were a few things that could have happened, but you happened to roll Gannett.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Good night,
All right,
everybody.
well,